Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. Today is May 25th, 2023. This is the midweek edition. We saw NVDA reported earnings last night, and the earning wasn't that impressive, but what really impressed the market participants was the forecast of this coming quarter revenue. Earlier forecast was a little bit over $7 billion, and they revised it up to $11 billion. So that is more than 50% increase, and we are talking about billions, people. We're not talking about millions or hundreds of millions. So that $4 billion increase is a lot, for a 3-month period. So is it like, $1.25 billion a month, okay, in increase, if you prorate that. So that is really impressive. Now, how realistic that is, will they be able to actually deliver the product to realize those revenue? That's the wait and see game. And also, will they actually hold on to that business as more competitor coming into that arena? So we'll see. But regardless, we're going to take a look at what the stock did later on in this video. But let's start off with the market and the internals. Here I have on the screen is the 4th day of the week, the S&P 500. This is an intraday chart. It's a 3-minute chart, so each candle represents 3 minutes. And here is the new high, the new high, new low here. So as you can see on Monday and Tuesday, the market was running a little bit more new high than new 52-week low. Then on yesterday and today, it flip-flopped, and now we are looking at over 100 more new 52-week low than 52-week high in the New York Stock Exchange. In addition to that, also on Monday and Tuesday, we saw the up-down volume ratio was kind of leaning toward the upside, with more up volume than down volume. But now, yesterday and today, it also flip-flopped. Today, it finished with 2-1 in favor of the down volume. And also the VIX, early on Monday, the VIX was down at the 16-17 level. And on Tuesday, it's kind of sit just right between that 17 and 18 level, and today it went back up to almost that 20 level and kind of hover in the 19, and yesterday actually went above the 20. Right now we are looking at the put call ratio, and the put call ratio on Monday, it was inside of that hedge zone, and then on Tuesday we got a little bit early morning bullishness, and then in the afternoon it kind of turned a little bit bearish. Then on Wednesday, the market participants are getting a little bit more bearish, and they are buying more put. So probably, kind of hedging in, ahead of the NVDA report, the earning. So you can see today it started out pretty bullish, and then ended the day back inside of that 0.7 and 1.0 level. That's the hedge zone. Market participants are not all risk on, and neither are they all risk off, but they're sort of hedging their position. And also looking at the daily advance decline, on Monday we saw more advancing issue than declining issue, so that's a positive. And on Tuesday, even in the while the market was coming down a bit, the advancer led the decliner until the end of the session, then it kind of turned around, and the declining stock outnumbered the advancing stock. And yesterday we have more declining stock than advancing stock, and so is today. But today, even though the market is up, but the decliner led the advancer by 862 versus yesterday it was over 1,300. Well, it was 1,528, somewhere around here near the close yesterday. And here, as you can see from this table here, we see the NASDAQ is the top gainer here for the week today. And you notice that throughout the week so far, we got one more day, tomorrow, Friday. So we see that only the NASDAQ and the NASDAQ, the NASDAQ 100 and NASDAQ Composite is holding up a gain for the week. And even the NASDAQ Composite, because it's also mixing with some other stock other than the tech-heavy stock, unlike the NASDAQ 100, is more concentrated on the FAANG stock, the Apple, the Microsoft, Netflix, and those sort of things, and NVDA. And you see that for the week, it almost up 1%. but the Nasdaq Composite is only up 1/3%. Then you see the S&P 500 is actually losing 1% week to date, and the transportation a little bit over 1%. The Russell 2000, Dow Jones Industrial, and the New York Stock Exchange Composite is not doing well because they all are under lost more than 1% here. And for the month to date, again, the Nasdaq and Nasdaq 100 is the only two indexes that are in the gain territory, in the green territory. All the remainder indexes are in a losing territory. So is the year to date. The year to date, we see that the Nasdaq holding over 20% gain year to date, and the S&P 500 a little bit over 8%, while the transportation is 3.75%. The Russell 2000, Dow Jones Industrial, and New York Stock Exchange Composite, they are all negative for the year to date. Okay, let's take a look at the relative strength of these FAANG stock. And by the way, I have posted my weekly analysis on my Substack page early this morning. And for those of you that are subscribing to my Substack newsletter, you would have received that in your inbox, your mailbox, your email. And if you are interested and you are not one of my subscribers yet, go and check it out. You might find it interesting, and you might want to consider subscribing. I have the link in the description below. So let's go and take a look at Apple here. You see that the relative strength is pretty much flat here for Apple, but the price is holding up relatively well. Now, I do have a more detailed analysis of this in that Substack post, so I'm not going to go through the analysis again here today. We're just going to take a quick look at the relative strength here. And here's Tesla. Tesla, you can see that the relative strength is also kind of flat. And you see the price is trying to get back up above this 200 level. So it's holding at this high volume node here. And Netflix, the relative strength recently been upward. So it's kind of a little bit outperformed the S&P 500. But now we're kind of getting a little bit of a pullback. And we could see this possibly develop into a little bit of a pennant. And then we'll see which way you're going to break. Is it going to break on the upside or on the downside and fill this gap? And here's Meta. Meta has also been outperforming the S&P 500. You can see that back in November here, been pretty much outperforming the S&P 500 on this upward trajectory. Right now, today it printed a little bit of a spinning top doji, so that could be a little bit of a sign of exhaustion. And if the indecision decide to break on the downside, we could see it come back down, possibly toward this high volume node here for a little bit of a test for support. Google recently also outperformed the S&P 500, and due to this AI hype here, and you can see that it got a nice pop, a gap up open today on this pivot. And so right now, we'll see would it be able to come up to this high here. Definitely, we see the relative strength still holding up. And Amazon also been relatively good, outperformed the S&P 500. Recently, it's kind of flattened off a little bit, and that might be a little bit of a more concern about the consumer spending here, especially this discretionary portion of it. So we'll see will Amazon hold up in this area and then try to push up above this high here, and then maybe possibly get up to this pivot high, this area near this 121. And here's Microsoft. Microsoft relative strength has been good also. It's a little bit outperformed the S&P 500. Microsoft and Apple have been doing their job in pushing up the index here. And you can see the gap up open here. Microsoft today is up 3.8% or 12 points. So for a large cap stock like this, this 3.85% move is doing a lot of pushing on the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, and this is mainly due to NVDA conference call. A lot of mention about the collaboration and the adaptation from Microsoft to NVIDIA's AI stuff here. So that's why you see this pop. And finally, here's NVIDIA. You can see this huge gap. And yesterday, after reported earning, we actually saw a high somewhere up at the 395 area. And today, it did not get up to that 395. only got up to this 394.80, so a little bit shy of that high. But I do envision that the NVDA could possibly take out that high. So wouldn't be surprised after a couple of days of pullback, then it's going to make another run and take out that after-hour high here from yesterday. So you can see that NVIDIA today is up almost 25%. And yesterday, after hours, up close to 30%. And that's primarily due to the fourth statement in terms of the revenue for this quarter. They revised it from a little bit over $7 billion to $11 billion. So that's a heck of an increase. Even though percentage 50% increase, it's not, in a percentage sense, it might not mean that much. You have a lot of these small startup company, young company could very well increase the revenue by 50%, maybe from 20 million to 30 million or something like that, right? But when you talk about 7 billion to 11 billion, that's a $4 billion increase in a span of 3 months. So that's on average is like $1.25 billion each month. So that's a lot of sales there. So we'll see how much of that actually going to become reality. But of course, I would think that they would not mention that if they do not have a high level of confidence of being able to capitalize on that revenue or realize that revenue. So we'll see how well they could execute in the coming quarter and how much of a follow through in terms of those business projection that they're talking about $1 trillion market for the next 5-10 years. So yeah, it could be, right? So we'll see, but definitely you see NVIDIA have this huge surge here, and this remind me of the .com era that we're getting into these hyper move on these low but euphoric hype here. This AI been the buzzword for the last couple of months. AI is not new. Right? The technology is not new. The only thing that is new is that finally we got the hardware that is, the cost of the hardware or the miniaturization of the hardware got to the point that it is feasible for a lot of companies to adopt, to implement AI. Before, you need a supercomputer to do that, and now you could basically just have a bunch of these GPUs. So we'll see how this will play out. And this is just a quick update. I know I've been kind of yabbling a little bit more than usual, but be sure to smash the thumbs up to help me promote this video and give it a like. And if you are new to my channel and you are not haven't subscribed yet, click on the subscribe, and so you could continue to receive contents like these from me. And be sure to go and check out my Substack page if you're interested to see my analysis on these FAANG stock. Thank you for watching, and good luck on your trading.